into the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation this morning. Where are you tuned in to the Situation Room around the country and on all of our live streams on YouTube and Facebook and on our radio apps, Radio Garden and such. Karibu sana and welcome to our audience on KTN Home as we get into a health conversation for this hour. Two guests will be with us. One guest is already here, and we're going to be looking into this. George Gibora is the Secretary General of KUKO. We'll look into details of that in just a short while. Dr. Abidan Mai will be with us here. He's the chairman of the KMPDU, and we're looking at the health impasse this morning and what all of that has in store as we get into it. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Do.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Before we get into it, KUKO, give us that acronym, what this stands for in its completeness.
KUKO is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers.
There we go. Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. So you represent them and you'll be with us here this morning. We'll welcome you, and then maybe when Dr. Machi gets here, we'll welcome him as well. But CT does this great thing where he... I don't know, the guy who gets the visas to all the countries, and then he gets the proverbs. And this week we've been in we've been in the Republic of Congo. Yes. N'est-ce pas?
Yes. Otherwise known as Congo Brazzaville.
Yeah.
Now, in the time when you were youthful, because there was a time when you were youthful, you may have come across a song by a gentleman called Samba Mapangala. And the song was Vunja Mifupa Kama Meno Bado Iko. That was the song. See? Have you seen the nodding?
I saw the smile. It lit up immediately.
Told you.
So you were not telling me a lie?
No, I wasn't telling you a lie.
Okay.
Now, there is a proverb from the Republic of Congo. And this gentleman, Samba, was actually born in the Republic of Congo, but later moved to what we now know as DRC. The proverb from that country, I believe from which this particular song was derived, was, while you have teeth, you can break bones. Now, in the language that they speak there, this is what they say. Tango Mingo ezalibuka mukua. Now, I have absolutely no idea what I've just read, but I've read it all the same, okay? But in English, while you have teeth, you can break bones.
George, what do you think about that? How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, Muga suggested like I'm not still youth.
Can you imagine?
Okay, let me say when you are younger. Not young, younger.
Yes. I think what it suggests to me is that when you are youth, you can be able to do more and you have energy to do more. And when you have that energy, you better do it. Because it comes a time that you cannot do it. You can only see them as they pass.
Yep.
Do
it while you can. Okay.
Opportunity waits for no man.
Opportunity knocks but one.
Yes, when it presents itself, please take advantage of it.
Right.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, I mean, like we said, also the chairman of the KMPDU will be here with us. But even getting into this conversation, George, as KUKO, the Clinical Officers Union, where is all of this currently from your perspective? What exactly is going on today? Because we've heard different things happening to the point whereby yesterday, clearly, that whole communication line has been broken and it is not working for different reasons. But give us an overview from the clinical officer's perspective position of exactly what is going on right now.
Thank you for that question. And foremost, I want to appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to appear before you. At least it's the first time.
Yes.
And I thank you. As you have properly put it, we have had, for us, we have been on strike for the last 26 days today. And what we have been treated with, specifically the condescending attitude and the responses from the Council of Governors, is what we don't understand. And up to date, I must say that we have been engaging the Minister of Health on all the 10 issues that we raised on our strike notice, because we followed due procedure. That we notify them that there are issues, we registered grievances, and then demanded that they be addressed. 14 days. We followed up for 7 days. Therefore, we realized that they are not willing to address them. Then we called for the strike notice, 7 days strike notice. No one called us on the table. Then the strike ensued on 1st April. And all the issues still remain unaddressed, up to date. We have had several meetings actually with the Minister of Health, which have been led by the PS Mary Modoni. And some of the issues that require consultation from other departments, she has forwarded those requests for their concurrence. Specifically, we are pushing for ratification of our career progression guideline, which has been in waiting since 2017, meaning then that clinical officers under the Ministry of Health and also counties and other employers are not able, they do not have a proper guideline in terms of how to employ, retain, and promote clinical officers. So that put us at jeopardy. And that's what we are seeking for address. But the Public Service Commission is still taking much time, despite that this has been an issue that they have been having for all those years. The second issue, which also we know that we have engaged, is on the CBA. We have concluded all the non-monetary issues. And the only issue that they are waiting for is for the approval by the SRC on an issue that we agreed in 2021. Because in 2021, again, we went on strike because of the same issues, including the CBA. And they flagged out, then Modahi Kagwe was the CS, flagged out the issue of the risk allowance and said they can address it because they realized that indeed what we were raising, the clinical officer, who are more of the gatekeeper of a healthcare facility, they are earning the least 3,000 and the highest is earning 20,000 in that sector. We provided justification that clinical officers are the first to meet patient in an enclosed place, or rather room, and they take close to 15 minutes with the patient without knowledge of the kind of condition they have, whether infectious or not. And that's evident even during COVID. It was a number of clinical officers who were infected by COVID first, because you see the patient first, then once you suspect there's something, you notify others. So you already sensitize the others. So then we agreed that they were to enhance it from 3 to 15. That's an additional of 12,000. It has not been implemented up to date. So that is what we are saying, that the employer need to meet their end of bargain. Yes.
You mentioned when you began speaking that there's a manner in which you've been handled by the Council of Governors. Could you elaborate on this, please?
You see, is that they have muted, is like there's nothing going on. And they have not engaged us in any manner. And what I mean is that there is even court orders. Last year, 2023, specifically on 8th October 2023, there was an order by the court which ordered parties on the matters of CBA to resume, because we have been agitating, going out, coming in, and they went to court in 2019, where the court actually also ordered us to go for conciliation. We went for conciliation. They did not cooperate. The conciliator prepared a report that the government, specifically the Council of Governors, were not cooperative. So then that matter is still in court, has not been. We have been pushing for it. So last year, they still pushed that parties go back to negotiating table with a clear mind of registering a compromise, so that we are able to continue offering services. Because then we had also indicated of going on strike last year. So when again they went to court, those matters were brought together. And then they were told, there's still this matter here, you have not been able to resolve. So go back, resolve. So they have not honored that. And we feel then that that muting the whole issue is more of actually not consider, or rather prioritizing the issues that we are putting on the table.
Okay. So at this time now, when the doctors, of course, of the current strikes that we are seeing, the doctors went on strike first.
Yes.
Would you say that the clinical officers joined the strike in order to give it some more potency, to see that this is an issue across board? Or was it at the time where the clinical officers were going to go on strike anyway, because some of the issues that you had discussed had not been resolved as they promised that they would have been?
Yeah, that's key. When I think all these issues have been recurring, as I have said, and we continue saying that among the 10 issues, there are many. There are those that directly touches on counties, like promotion and redesignation. We have counties that have never promoted our workers, like Kirinyaga. We have also Vihiga, which is also a problem, among other counties. But then we said all these issues, let us raise them together so that they can be addressed. So they have not been addressed. Now, when we wanted to go on strike, good enough, I think this is the time we had written our demands, and then Dr. Davuji was attacked by police sometime when they were doing a demonstration for the interns, the intern issues. Then we had already issued our demand letter. They also issued a demand letter immediately, but they gave it for 7 days.
Yeah.
So they started their strike before us. That does not mean then we did not have any issue, because we had already demanded, and including petitioning the Senate on the same. And that is what has also occasioned today's meeting, that we are having a joint meeting between the Health Senate, the Committee on Senate, the Health Committee in the Senate and the National Assembly.
Right.
Or they are going to address all those issues. We are saying that we have our own issues that are affecting clinical officers. They may look similar. The doctors are pushing for full implementation of the CBA. We are pushing for realization of our CBA, which has been at bay since 2017.
What would you say is the reason why this, so essentially it's acknowledgement of a CBA, what's the reason why this has not happened?
You see, when I can just mention that in 2017 is when we registered this union that I'm leading. And then we had a recognition agreement by around in November 2017. And we immediately started negotiating for CBA. And thereafter, we proceeded very well until 2019, when now they walked out of the table, and it occasioned a strike. They went to court, we resumed duty, and that has now been more of the same thing happening every time we threaten, they come on the table, then they walk away. So we feel that there have not been any goodwill from the employer, and also lack priority to ensure that they can focus on this. And I need to say, maybe they do not understand the importance of a CBA, because the CBA is for their own interest, because then it provides grounds in which the employee might not go on any strike, provided the CBA is running and being implemented. So when now in the absence of the CBA, the anxiety is high, and people feel that you're not listening to us. And that is what now normally will push members to come out. And I think then we feel that when it was started, it was under the Council of Governors, who are taking the coordinating role for the counties. Now you have seen them, including the chair of the Council of Governors, clearly saying that all the union who are seeking CBA, they should negotiate with individual counties. We hold a position then that if you look at the County Government Act, why they actually came up with the Council of Governors, it was to coordinate matters of common interest that are affecting all the counties, and of which I feel then health is one of it. And if that is the case, then we do not expect such a statement from the chair of the Council of Governors, because again, even the one CBA that exists in the health sector, specifically for the medical office, the doctors, was negotiated as central place. Understanding we cannot have 48 types of CBS, that is the Ministry of Health and all the 47 counties, because then if they have different terms, it will cause anarchy in the sector.
Right. Understood. Well, Dr. Abidan Mai joins us at this juncture, National Chairman of the Kenya of KMPDU, here with us this morning. Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning, Chiondu and City.
Karibu sana.
My apologies for being late. I had to shift from 4 wheels to 2 for some reasons.
You had to switch from 4 wheels to 2.
Yeah.
Can't be easy. It's good to have you here all the same. We're just looking through a number of these issues, and I'm joining in the conversation today. It's your first time here, so we're glad to have you in the room. But as well, also just looking at some of the issues with this health impasse and where we are today. Things have escalated, and not in a good way, to the point whereby it seems as though things will not be solved in the interim. And so we just wanted to get an update, first of all, on issues from the medical doctor's side in terms of what's happening here.
Well, it's now well into day 44 of our industrial action. It's not like we are running a marathon, or the more the days, the bigger the medals.
Right.
It's nobody goes to do medicine ostensibly to just come out and participate in industrial action. We found ourselves here, and you have to do what you have to do. Given the lackluster way that the government is taking, you're right in saying that there's no end in sight anytime soon. The government has been managed this particular strike right from the beginning, when the remedy that they injected in the formative days was to withdraw the internship employment. That was the first reaction to our industrial notice that we gave them. Then after that, there's been just mismanagement after mismanagement after mismanagement. Now day 44, still it's a blinking game. According to them, it's a blinking game. And doctors are resolute that they are not going to work without their bare minimums, because we've been with this government before. We know that they do not really implement when they put pen to paper. So this time we want them to implement. Yes. There's no pen, there's no paper.
There's no pen, there's no paper in this case.
Yes.
All right. So there are 19 issues. Of course, we've seen those ones. And at the most recent talks that you had on Tuesday, government, in the name of the Ministry of Health, coupled with the head of public service, said that 18 of those issues had been discussed with an element of understanding from both sides of the table, but that the 19th issue was in court. And because KMPDU had essentially jumped the gun and gone to court on this issue, they could then not discuss it, but they had done the due diligence to discuss the remaining 18. Is that the case?
Let me start from the latter to the former. It is not true that KMPDU went to court. 2 doctors, feeling agitated that they had stayed home for 8 months, went to court. We were mentioned as interested parties. And again, it is not true that the court put the issue in abeyance. What the good judge said, Lady Justice Molina Nyango said, is that we revert to a situation that is prior to the circular that was written by SRC of the circular of 13th of March. What this particular circular said, this is a circular that was slashing the internship payment from what it was to 70,000. That is a 91% slash. How they interpreted that ruling just serves to show where the mindset was, because what the good judge averred, in any good person's opinion, was that the pay should not be slashed as the talks are going on. Now, to the 18 versus 1, I can mention many things that they have not done, so that we see how they have compressed it to 1. Number 1, we asked them to give our members comprehensive insurance because it's the only reasonable thing to do. And they had told us that they'll do it immediately from 2017 up to now. They have not done it. That is one issue. We told them to pay the basic salary arrears that they owe us from 2017 because they committed to doing it since 2017. A child born then is now in class 1. They have not done it. That is already 2. we told them, right, that they need to put the processes of CBA negotiations in KTRH, KNH, and MTRH in place and rolling. They have not done it. That is already 3. This issue of 18 to 1 is a political statement. And besides, when we caught them in their tracks and we told them, now that you've given us 18, which must be more expensive than the 1, why don't you take the 18 and give us the 1? Which they refused. What does that say? They're just playing games, mind games, chicanery, and a lot of mischief, which is quite unfortunate.
You know, I have to ask this question of both of you.
Yes.
I mean, everything that you say is not difficult to understand. And the fact that you have a CBA means pen was put to paper. That's why you have a CBA.
Absolutely.
If the parties concerned don't sign it, there is no CBA. What do you think is actually happening? Because from 2017 to now, those are really very many years. Yes.
For me, let me start. When we saw these things coming, and we realized that there was a circular from the SRC against a circular from the Public Service Commission, which established any post for anyone to be paid in the public sector. And the circular from the Public Service Commission has given job groups for all the interns. So you come and put it aside without recalling it. You say now we have the one for the SRC, which insinuated that you pay them as stipend. Now, without any scientific, you give a range. Like for the diploma clinical officer, you say 27 to 35. For the degree clinical officer, you say pay them between 35 to 50. And then you realize that they are only going for 1 year. So who is to be paid? The 27 and the 25. It was just a reaction. Now, because they reacted and they realized that they have committed, or rather they have caused more problem, then they are still holding on it, but they cannot justify. They have not done any job evaluation to scientifically point out that this is what befits them. And then it's happening in a very bad economical situation, hard time, when people are experiencing difficulties even to meet to be able to buy even food on the table. Then you say, we have slashed it. Like for instance, the degree clinical officer used to pay around 115. They are now saying, we'll pay you 50.
I'm concerned here. Are we saying that the SRC has the ability and the mandate to disregard what the Public Service Commission has put in place?
That is what we are treated to. And we ask whether really, they say actually, for themselves, they say again, that these interns are not employees. That's what they say.
Does the SRC suggest, or do they have the powers to actually implement?
That is what they are trying to actually maybe put into the public, which we feel that they do not. Because in any case, you cannot establish any position in the public sector without the Public Service Commission. That is why even the president to appoint anyone must go back to the Public Service Commission and then now come back to the SRC and say, this is a new position. But now because there is already a position that had been established for these interns, where there was already schemes of services that provide for the same, you can only pay as per the job group that is already approved, because already the scale is there.
Okay.
It did not require the SRC, but the SRC is trying to say we can take it away powerfully and try to demonstrate that they are the one who has that role. And we say, looking at their role, they say they are not employees, so then they are not public servants. Why should you have the mandate then to decide on what they should be paid? And that's the complication we have, and we are saying that we as a clinical officer and as the doctors also, is that we are not willing to take the cut. We must be able to obey what is there, specifically payment for the intern as per the job group. If that does not happen, then we do not understand why we should continue, some of us also being there, serving the clinical officer or even the doctors, because then we'll be negating on our responsibility. And these people constitute 27% of our work, our human resource in our public sector.
Yeah.
If you get them, if you get where they are today, when you come and do just introduce them, orient them, the next week they are the one who are working and covering our wards because we do not have enough human resource.
Yeah.
So by that so doing, these guys are working. They are not like any other interns from any other. And in the health sector, if you treat it like the way you treat people who are dealing with animal, I feel then I must be sorry, because that person need to be stable mentally for them to address your issues.
Indeed.
So once you come and displace that, you can get to understand the danger you're putting Kenyans into.
Let's take a break and then we come get a response from you, Dr. Machi, after that, concerning that particular issue from the doctor's perspective. We're talking to two gentlemen this morning, the chairman of the KMPDU, Dr. Machi, as well as George, who is from the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers this morning. The health impasse, it's quite sticky in the country today. What are the answers? Where are the solutions? Where are we going? It's 27 minutes to 8 o'clock.